And we're back. So yeah, smells. When I used to go to my maternal grandparents' house, there was a smell. When I went to my paternal grandparents' house, there was a different smell. Every now and then when I go to my mum's, I get a faint whiff of that smell of my grandparents. It's amazing. It floods my mind with memories. It's beautiful. When I get home, I'll add a little clip in here. Yeah, so buried in the back of my man drawer, my granddad's perfumed cologne, California poppy, and yeah, every now and then I open this drawer and I'll just get a whiff of it, and it's even though I can smell it now, even though they're not been opened, just the smell coming out of that drawer, my man drawer, and the crap. They're not dildos. It's an old torch. All right. Yeah, my little blue book. Look at that. California poppy, perfumed cologne. Yeah, my granddad's. After my paternal grandfather died, I don't know, 20 years ago now. As some people do, everyone's like allowed a small gift. I chose to take some poppy seed aftershave or something like this. I'll show you in the video in a minute. But just that smell of my granddad. Every time I open my drawer, I just get a small whiff of it, and it's beautiful. I love it. And yeah, I think in some ways blood is tied up with that. But I think also blood is tied up with small things like where you live, what you eat, and yes, even the people you mix with. You understand? The water you drink, everything small like that. I imagine my blood and Martin's has a faint whiff of marijuana. Yeah. I was just question my mum with the blood transfusion that she does. Does it not matter that you smoke? And she'd no. And I always used to think to myself, what if someone who doesn't smoke gets your smoking blood and ends up smoking? You know, is that possible? I think it is. I have no first-hand evidence of it. I know no one who has actually had a transplant of that kind, as far as I'm aware. I know people who have had major surgery, but no transplants and things like that. It's possible my nephew's had transfusions, but it's hard to tell whether that's had any changes on him. I do not see him enough, and my sister's not the one to talk to about this sort of stuff. Used to be recorded. The thing with jazz and a talking agenda, I know there's a few people out there struggling to speak because their agendas are not coming out of their mouth. And you know, that word agenda, there's nothing malicious or anything in it. It's just, I have an agenda to get up and go to school. We'll take my kids to school and go to work every morning. Yeah, it's on the agenda every day, 5 days a week. But there's something in the speaking freely of thoughts, if people have noticed, where people are disconnectedly making connections. Without the Evan Palado video this morning, then they speak about Thomas Sheridan. Bizarre. Some of the things I speak about and I hear other people talk about, or some of the things I think about and hear other people talk about, and I think, how is that possible? And that does make me question whether there's an agenda on the internet and we're all being forced into similar conclusions. I mean, that is a nefarious thought in many ways. That's a scary thought. I don't like the thought of being manipulated in that way. No one does, do they? But it brings to mind, very much so, I think the last thing on my agenda, lovely, I wanted to speak about, which was the rats in the labyrinth. And everybody, if you haven't heard about this, type rats in the labyrinth experiment into your search bar and off you go. But we are the rats, aren't we? And once an idea has been thought through and worked out and found to be certain of the way through the maze, it's passed on somehow. Now I can do that with my circles, but we'll come back to that another time. I had some beautiful comments once again from Miss Kim, and I do have to apologise. I'm still getting into my little routine of working 5 days a week, and everything's changed for me in many ways. Sometimes it just takes me a little while to settle, but once I do, I will be trying much harder to respond to everyone's comments. When I first started the channel, I did try to respond to absolutely everyone, and I haven't been since I started work. Time just flies, it absolutely flies. Especially when I've been making the little videos where I sit there and edit this bit and that bit, and time just flies when I'm having fun, you see. Rory McFizz, thank you for making that little video. I wish you and all your family well. I'd like to say more, but what's happened to Rory has also happened to someone in my life. They're not family, but they are close friends. I've known them for going on 15 years now, and they lost their father-in-law at about the same time. And so I've got it going on all around it in a minute, and it's not pleasant to see. But my thoughts are with you and them, Rory, all the time. Quite often, should I say, not all the time. There's that language thing that everybody talks about, isn't it? Every time and all the time. I'm always. You're always. Always what? Always breathing? Well, yeah, I'm always breathing. I'm not always angry or always happy or anything always else. I am always conscious. Am I? Like I've said it before about the schools. In many ways, it's not about just shutting down schools, taking kids home and trying to teach them all yourself. No. It's about changing the way it's done in the schools. You understand? And about allowing children to ask questions. When the kids go to school first, at nursery and reception, that's when they learn the most. And then that's when they learn the most important things. Like the sharing, the creating, just making friends. And then they spend the next fucking 11 years sitting on their arse being told what's right and what's wrong, when to go, where to go, how to go. It's sickening, and no one can see it. Everybody's so proud when their children go to secondary school and put the school uniform. I hate it. I do not hate my children going to school and making friends. I just hate the schools themselves. All those little bad habits, the bad jokes, the simple bullying that just tears into some children's hearts and souls are still there. It's still there. They're not in the nursery and the reception class, the youngest ones. The kids don't know enough to pick up on it. But once they start moving up through the years, it's scary how quickly they change. I don't like to see it. I love to see them grow up, don't get me wrong. Everybody wishes their children could be, between 3 and 6 forever. It is one of the best times. But I do like seeing them grow up. I like seeing them become independent, going to get the bus for the first time. It's amazing. Like the first time my eldest come home in the dark, had this sort of swagger, and his eyes were beaming with I don't know, whatever it was he'd been doing. He wasn't on anything, don't get me wrong. It was just, I don't know, it was that transition. He wasn't a little boy anymore, you understand? That was amazing. I think school takes that away from people. Someone said to my lady the other day, children spend more time at school than some people work. And ain't that the fucking truth at the minute? How many people do we all know on 16-hour contracts? This is disgusting. Michael Tellinger in his Ubuntu movement, he says everybody should work, 3 to 15 hours a week, and then that's all anybody has to work. But that has to be done from the word get-go, you understand? There are some people who like to work, you understand? They really do like to be at work. I'd rather be thinking than working, but I have no problem with working and no problem with working hard. And I can tell that all those who listen first are also hard workers, put in 110% when everybody else puts in less than 80. I can tell you're those sorts of people. I like a chat, but when I'm at work, I do my work. After work, we'll go down the pub and have a chat. We'll talk for hours. I think all work at one point was some sort of vocation. And then they tried to turn all jobs into careers, even filling shelves, you know. Screwed us over good and proper, man. Well, it may be for the best. Maybe things were going tits up. Maybe those dirty old kings and queens were fucking it up royally, hey? Maybe they had all the cards and no one knew how to fucking fight back. And then maybe someone worked out a way. I don't know. Just rambling. Much love to you all. Thank you all for your comments and support, as always. Even when I don't say it. It's always appreciated. That may well be it for today. But if I do come up with any more thoughts, I'll add them on. But peace and luck to you all.